I mean, how gentle is this? I mean, I am not combing that hard. It is pouring out of your right side of your neck.
You probably have some of the strongest thumbs in the world, I would guess.
Okay, I got thumb war. I'm gonna be. And when you say lower back pain, is it just in the small of the back? Has anything traveled down your legs, or just?
Nothing. I don't really have any sciatica, and nothing that really travels. It'll migrate kind of between low back and kind of mid low back. And it's on and off. Yeah. It's
sharp pain.
Yeah, sharp pain. Last week I heard it pretty bad. I was actually ended up on the floor for a while, and I just had to gather myself until I got back up. That was about 10 days ago now, but.
And that all centered around the lower back, wasn't going in the glute?
Right. No.
Okay.
Nothing really travels.
All right. So you've been through some chiropractic care. Has anybody explained to you what that pain is or what's causing it? What's the explanation you've been given?
It's not really. I was in there kind of at a young age, so it's maybe hard to pick up on some of that, but nothing that I remember really. Nothing that's you kind of just get the adjustment, you're done. It's not really teach you how to
take
manage
care of yourself.
it. Yeah.
All right. Let me grab a model. The alignment, and I know that's why we want to go through this because I know it's why you're here. The lumbar curve is paramount for that pain to not exist. If we have the spine if it's straight, which is the incorrect position, your back is supposed to have an arch in it, but if when we sit for long periods of time, that lumbar curve goes straight, all the weight like a ladder ends up mechanically overstressing the lower back. And so this area ends up being overworked, the middle back is underworked, and so our lifestyle and then exercise that you do with a bad alignment continually stress out. It's the joints. So the facets, we call them, or the knuckles is what you can kind of give you that sharp capsular pain where you can go, it's right there, Ed. And then when the joint's not working, Ed, I can't get up. I can't load the joint with any weight, and so it's being overstressed. The joint reminds me of a handshake. So these two surfaces glide over each other. You can see that. And so I think of it like a handshake because the more we're overlapped, the more power we have. If I had to lift you, it'd be a lot easier to do it like this than if I had only about this much contact. Right. We're not going to have a lot of ability to have a lot of power here. So can you see when the curve goes straight, the joints separate? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yep. And so when the joints separate, now the ligament that holds that joint together is actually being stretched, and the muscles over top are actually going to get tighter to try to hold everything together because we don't want to dislocate the joints. But this is a destabilized position for the joints, and then because the ligaments are being stretched. There's also ligaments on the front that we can't see on this model that are also tight. As these are stretched out on the back, the ones on the front are tight. We call this the anterior longitudinal ligament. Runs from the front part of your occiput down to your sacrum on the front part. And so when the backside is being stretched out, this is all tight, and so ultimately if we just adjust you, this tight ligament will just pull you back straight again, right? It's not gonna, you can't change posture by only doing an adjustment. That we might be able to get some of the inflammation out of there and we can mechanically change where it's moving, but ultimately we have to stretch that front ligament in order to bring that curve back to your spine. So there's been no MRIs of your spine, anybody taking just x-rays perhaps, or no pictures at all?
X-rays,
okay.
A long time ago.
But no MRIs?
No MRIs.
So with the MRI is helpful, and I don't need it to treat you, but it does help to show patients how their spine is aging. What I typically see is you're 30, 31, and your lower back is 45. It's starting to age at a faster rate. That's part of why it's hurting, and it's being overstressed, and so the candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long. There's nothing wrong with your lower back. It's simply doing double the work, and there must be another area that's doing half or a quarter of what it's supposed to do, and that's what we're going to do today, is just wake up the areas that are frozen. In addition, the alignment of where even your head is to your shoulders affects the tightness of your middle back. So, and it's my lower back that's killing me. Why are you working my neck so much? Because when the head goes forward, the middle back gets tight. If you can sort of envision that, or I even usually get easier to feel. Put your hand here. When my head goes forward, do you feel how the middle back got all tight in here?
Right.
Do you feel that? And so when I come upright, it goes back to relaxed, and then I go forward. So just simply the head to shoulder will make the middle back tight, and then that overstresses the lower back. What we're in is that we're in an injury on the right side of your neck that's essentially made your head tilt left, And then in order to not feel dizzy, you've lowered your right shoulder to keep what we call a righting reflex. Your eyes have to be on the horizon. So we have an injury on the right side of your neck, and then that's going to cause your head to go forward. Also, so your head's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches forward. That's going to make the middle back tight, and then the lower back's going to overstress. It's like that domino effect. So we want to do a couple things. We want to get your head on straight. We're going to see if we can level out these shoulders. We're going to give you some exercises to actually, so because you're like, essentially like this, we're going to actually do some exercises to actually translate you to the left, kind of an Egyptian exercise, because you're essentially translated to the right with your head. We're going to bring you over to the left. When we have pressure on the lower neck, the nerves that leave your lower neck, you understand, go to the long thoracic nerve, comes from the lower neck, which then innervates the serratus anterior, which then prevents your shoulder blade from flaring a lot. And so the shoulder, that weakening of that muscle happens because there's pressure on the lower neck. The head goes forward, and like I said, there's an injury on the right side of your neck that's making your head tilt, shoulder drop. Yeah, he's in avoidance. Yeah, you're in. See, the way you're standing is you're avoiding this. Your whole torso is going to your left side. So the left side, is going to be under more stress currently, and then eventually you're going to compensate, and then you're going to avoid this and use the right. But we're going to take the stress off your lower back, get it back to your middle back, get the curve back in your spine, and that's going to alleviate that. Across this arm.
This is probably going to be the most difficult. I know you probably know that, but
all right, take a deep breath in. It's okay. I got you. And head back for me. It's okay. Exhale. It's okay. Beautiful. Deep breath in. Head back. Exhale. It's okay. Exhale. Deep breath in. Here we go. I got you. Exhale. Beautiful. So the areas that I'm interested in, how'd that feel first of all? I guess.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. It should surprise you because the areas that I'm interested in aren't injured.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense? Sometimes there's always it's going to hurt, but the areas that I'm focusing on are actually stiff, but then they themselves are not injured, so they need to get working again.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. You're good. Put your hands around your belly. Yeah, I got you. There we go. Deep breath in. It's okay. I got you. Relax. It's okay. Exhale. Everybody walks out of here. There we go. There we go. Good. There we go. Good. Deep breath in. Exhale. Okay, I got you. All right, so the goal of that is to adjust the middle back and the SI joint.
Right.
We're trying to leave this alone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, and if you body slam that a little harder, you get more to pop. I'm not trying to pop your lower back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, like I said, what you've been through. We want to be careful to not.
Most that I have are kind of in the low back. They're really twisting it. So.
Right, you got to be careful. We want to, you said, why is your hand down there in his butt? Because we're trying to loosen the SI joint. The SI joint is this large joint down here, and nobody has surgery on that joint. This joint sits on the sidelines, and these little guys down here have all the surgery. So when you're on your side, we're trying to rock and pivot this joint and not go in here and mess with. Now, you're right. Somebody might argue, well, Ed, it's going to move a little bit. The answer is correct, but a few percentage of movement here is okay, but not all the force going in there. Okay, deep breath in. I got you. There we go. Good. Your middle back's moving. Good. Another movement. Yeah, very good. Exhale. Good. Good. Face up for me. Good. Many chiropractors teach an idea that it's hurting because it's out of position. I teach it hurts and therefore it goes out of position. The exact opposite, right? The bone is out of place because it hurts. Does that make sense? Not as a cause for why it's hurting. And so how do you get the bone back in place? How do you reduce the subluxation? How do you fix the alignment? You get rid of the reason for why it happened. It happened because the lower back was mechanically too loose, because the alignment was wrong. Does that make sense? And so as we get the alignment better, the lower back will get a vacation, the bones will go back in the right place. Here's the injury on the right side. It's huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've noticed this knot over here?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, has anybody else noticed this huge knot? No, not so much. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring the bones level here. This is a pretty obvious one, right about there. Right there, the bones are level. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it's like when you crashed your bicycle when you were a kid and your handlebars and your tire didn't line up, right? Your head is straight to your torso, right? The handlebars are straight, but the tire's crooked. Now I have to make the handlebars crooked to make the tire straight, right? And so I want the tires and the handlebars straight at the same time. Okay. There we go. Good. Breathe. How'd that feel? You okay?
Yeah, felt pretty good. Got a little little jolt down the shoulder.
Okay. Down the right shoulder?
Kind of both.
Both sides?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens is we're trying to move just the upper without moving the lower. See if we go a little easier here. I got you. There you go. All right. How about that side?
I felt better.
Better? Okay. All right. Yeah, I went for that bigger one first. That right side is much farther out of alignment, a lot bigger movement on the right side than the left. So, it's going to run into stuff as we put it back into place. But ultimately, the adjustment can't change it. We have to stretch. That makes sense? We have to stretch this back into place. And we would do this on the neck dental. We would hold the head back in the curved position, and then you'd be back into the right. And you'd compress this, and actually more about stretching the left. So we're going to do essentially a right head tilting or a left translation. That's the exercise we'll show you in a minute. There we go. There we go. All right. Never been accused of, we would say, not talking enough. I didn't explain anything, and usually I joke if you want a quiet visit, it costs double. Well, the word doctor means not awesome person, not healer. It means teacher. You're supposed to learn something, and you go to. It sounds like you've been to doctors, but nobody's really taught you how to take care of yourself. And it's like that's the unfortunate part is you were seeking help, but nobody was guiding you, and
Right.
we have major misalignments here that cannot be. If they're just doing adjustments, then we didn't get the iPhone update.
Yeah.
The iPhone update came out in 1997, and it showed that stretching is how our posture is made worse, and it's stretching that fixes it. So why do I have to be adjusted? You have to be adjusted so that we can get all the parts of your back moving, so that we can safely stretch the stiff areas so that not just the loose areas are doing all the movement.
You probably have some of the strongest thumbs in the world, I would guess.
Okay, I got thumb war. I'm going to be... This is not even anything. I go...
Oh yeah, you can really put it in there. If I try to put a thumb in her back, I mean, I'm done in 30 seconds of hard pressure. It's like that's all I can.
You just don't want to.
I'm just getting out of. She thinks I'm just getting out of the massage.
I remember when I first started doing this, I had to constantly go like this. It's constantly.
Yeah.
I remember crying to my dad. My wrists were killing me. It was a good almost 2 years. My wrists were just. And I was like, Dad, I don't think I can do this. I mean, this is painful. I'm spraining my wrist constantly. I haven't sprained my wrist in 14 years. Like they just get tougher. I really believe that you keep asking your body for what you want, and it will fulfill it. It's now my wrists have grown a little bit, and my thumbs have grown a little bit, and it's your job. It's one thing if
you've ever seen those rock climbers' hands,
right.
They're totally adapted to what they do.
Right. Alex Honnold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my gosh, his sausage fingers. Oh my gosh. There we go. Your neck belongs here. And so what we do is, at the end of the day, we mold the neck back into the curved position. This is why we have cervical supports and lumbar supports. We're supposed to be having this arch in our neck, and so we hold you here for about 20 minutes, and that's how long it takes to stretch that ligament that's on the front that I was mentioning. The anterior longitudinal ligament has to be stretched. It takes about 19-20 minutes to fatigue that ligament, and that's when you get off the stretch. You might even feel a little lightheaded because it's like, whoa, because your body's in a different position. You have to re-equilibrate to that new position. But that's how you change posture. It's stretching that got us here. It's stretching that gets us out of here. There's the injury. I mean, real quick, it's coming up big. This was a collision, I would say. This is not just living your life. Something happened. That is an injury. How gentle is this? I mean, I am not combing that hard. It is pouring out of your right side of your neck. But yeah, the mark is never normal. The mark represents the lactic acid that's been trapped in a stiff area that's been protected because of an old injury. A mark might cut on the left, but I'm also combing more. There's the abuse pain down there. This is the left side. On the lower down here is going to be, this is kind of the overstress mark. So the left lower has been doing maybe 2/3 of the work of your neck because you're in right avoidance. he's a pitcher for a number of years, and so they're going to have, the shoulder's going to want to go forward. We want to stretch the shoulder back. The pec gets too tight in here, and so we want to. This will be it. Have you had any soft tissue work on this before?
No.
No soft
never
tissue
have.
work.
Mm-mm.
Wow, it just come out real big, Mark, real quick. Wow.
It's good though. It's good.
I'm so sorry. It's really a sad estate that that nobody really guided us, guided you in, how to wash this tissue. This is all just building up in here. Did you have any rotator cuff issues when you were playing?
No, not really. Actually, my left shoulder will sometimes give me issues.
He also plays racquetball and pickleball many times a week.
That's actively
Couple
now.
times, yeah,
Okay,
actively currently.
something's going on here. I'm like, why do we have this much?
Yeah.
That's a lot of Mark. That's a.
Curious to see what the left one
Whew.
will do.
And I'm not. I consider this still gentle. I'm like not even. I'm just. Big cloud of dust is coming up. This is gentle. Gentle gouache on. It's coming out like black. Okie dokie. It's an AC joint, so the clavicle comes across and attaches to the front part of the acromion here. There's a joint right there, so the more forward the shoulder goes, this jams. So at the end of the visit, we're going to do things to stretch that open. Same thing, it'll actually start going to your ribs, onto your sternum. You'll jam. You'll see people with like the ribs starting to ride up onto the sternum because it gets so jammed and forwardly rotated. And then somebody will have a brilliant idea of strengthening your rhomboids to fight the tight pec, and it's like, okay, now everybody's just tight, and I don't subscribe to that. I see what they're trying to do, but my solution would be to stretch this, right?
Okay.
Instead of just sitting here trying to strengthen these muscles, now you have tightness on both sides. No, Ed, don't. That front part of your scapula. I shouldn't have said anything about my shoulder. Okay, you okay?
Yeah, you found it right there. Yeah. at the end
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we gotta release some of this in here. Sorry about that. I shouldn't have said anything about my skin.
Oh yeah. Oof, sorry for sweating all over.
You're fine, you're fine. Wow, way too stiff in here. Let me just blockades in there. All right. Probably haven't noticed this before, right? Not so much,
Not so much.
Yeah. We don't notice the stiff parts of our back. We only notice the parts that are overstressed. We don't really notice the parts that are tight because the sensors are based on motion. So when an area gets injured and stiffened, we don't feel it until I go in there and push on it. Right there.
I found myself not breathing while you're while you're in those thoughts.
I know, try to let it go. It's not your friend in here yet. Frozen, let it go. Let it go. Show you how you can put a dental roll behind your back right here, and that's going to be your saving grace the rest of your life. Even when you're doing your work throughout the rest of your life, you're going to have some support in here, and we're going to redirect the pressure to your middle back.
Yeah, sitting right now is really the worst thing.
Yes, sir. Yep.
For me.
Yep. We're saving him. We're saving him. He's going to be just fine. My bread and butter. This is all I wake up every morning like the movie Groundhog Day. It's the same music playing from the radio. Put your little hand in mine. Ain't no more cloud mountain we can climb. I got you, babe. Stick to my day job, I know. Stick to your day job, Ed. I mean, there's so much in here. It just came out just from my elbow, babe. There's so much. That's rare. Usually don't make a mark, usually with my elbow.
Probably because he's not breathing right now. He's giving you some more life.
I mean, there's, you see that, dude?
Yeah.
That's just from my elbow. That's rare. Even my elbow's burning it out, like right there. Oh, man. Either that or my elbow is starting to morph into a gua sha tool. The gua sha and my elbow are one. Estranged as children, they have been reunited. What's right here? There it is. Jeez. Is there any place that I can't color on? Not so much. Yeah, right here, wow. As a patient progresses, the mark will go away faster because that circulation improves to the point where I won't even be able to make a mark on a person. You know, this would usually be a handful of visits you would see this, and then all that happens is it becomes pink, and then you look at his back and go, Dr. Ed's not trying anymore. No, it's simply there's nothing left in there. And I think this is old stuff here. Right here. How's that feel? I mean, I'm just curious when I'm doing all this, right? Doesn't hurt too bad, right? You okay?
Not too bad. It feels
Yeah.
kind of like it's
Itching.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's sometimes people when they're watching, what are you doing to that poor guy? You know, this is the easier part than the elbow, right? The elbow was
Yeah, the elbow is the,
way more intense than this,
yeah.
and that this is actually what's making the biggest marks in terms of. Okay.
How does all that affect the skin? like the scraping would be irritating.
No, the skin's fine. Yeah, it doesn't. It's what's underneath. It's in the muscles and the tissue underneath that's being drawn through the skin. All right.
Yeah, that was crunchy.
You're right there. This joint just locks when we sit and hands off the burden to your lower back. So keeping right here, right there. Keeping that joint on the team. So a person that's local to Sarasota, the looser I get this joint by, elbowing it, the more confident I am to adjust you deeper. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
See, if this joint's real stiff and this joint's loose and I adjust you side posture, do you see how this does most of the motion?
Yeah.
Now, as a patient gets to visit 5, 6, 7, this joint gets looser. Then you can start loosening the side joint more confidently without upsetting this.
Mm-hmm.
But see how tight this is right there? I mean,
Yeah, it's very
you
tight.
got a giant knot right there.
I'll try to loosen it up.
It's okay.
sometimes
No, it's not.
with,
Yep, it's
like a tennis ball or something.
correct if you can. But
There's not much that changes.
the more arch, really, as the arch gets back to your back, this will dissipate. So you're gonna address this as we get the lumbar curve back. As you, throughout your life, when you're sitting, put the lumbar device behind your back. When you do have to sit, this will not be so tight. This is a consequence of the lower back being agitated. So the muscles in the glute are controlled by the sciatic nerve, which then gets irritated because the lower back's upset. So then you create this loop, positive feedback loop starts to occur.
That one worse.
They're both pretty bad. Yeah,
That's pretty bad.
they're both pretty bad. Nobody's gone in here before and cleaned this. Why don't you breathe for me? I got you. Breathe, I got you. Good, breathe. Good, okay. All right, good. All right. Breathe, exhale. Good. Oh, yes. Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
That was nice. I think it was one of the nicest ones That was the same joints that moved earlier, but they moved at a deeper level. So these are the joints in your upper back. I adjusted them, like, say, from here to there, to like midway, and then I brought you into extension
Right.
and really closed them. Now, why do we want to do that? Because the more I can get this in, the more I can bring your head back, right? So the chest has to go in at the same time that the head can come back. We call that coupled motion. So if you can't get the chest in, you ultimately can't get the head back. Stretching. Scoot up a little bit for me if you can, as best you can on this side. Okay. I know, gotcha. This room's not the best for this, but there we go. Okay. I got you. Nice. No, you only took off a stone. There we go, nice. Okay. All right, go ahead and tilt your head left. Tilt left. There we go. Go ahead and tilt left for me. There we go.
I heard that one.
That was one of it.
Okay. Go ahead and tilt to the right. Ooh. Go ahead and tilt to the right for me a little bit. Okay, good. I think I said I think we got, wow, gee whiz, if there's anything left. Yeah, we got them all. We got as close as I'm gonna get it on a visit. Come on, breathe, exhale. Okay. Mastery of this device is your goal. If this device was easy, you wouldn't be here. Okay, so this is a journey. We have to journey through the territory to make this lumbar curve easy. Let's try to get your arms up ahead if you can. Let's try. This is how we're also going to do 2 birds, 1 stone. Get your shoulders back at the same time. You know, but this is the ellipse that your lower back curve should be in, and it just takes time to mold. All right, too much?
It's all right.
I mean, like I said, we don't need to. I don't need to kill you, but we do want to lift up from your lip. There we go. Get the idea, right? I'd rather you go for time than depth. Does that make sense? Put the arms aside, put them aside, just relax. There you go, relax. It should be killing you where it's pressing in. If it's killing you right here, thumbs up. If it starts hurting somewhere else, like if your lower back, I understand if your lower back already hurts when you get on it, but if it starts hurting worse in your lower back, we got to move higher on your back,
Okay.
or we got to lift off a little bit. It should just be killing you. It shouldn't be killing you anywhere, but as we progress, I expect it to be uncomfortable where the thumb part is we're making a new area bend at a deeper level,
Okay.
and we're stretching that ligament, so you need to, hang in there for that. But kind of good pain's bad pain. So a good pain is the middle back being upset. A bad pain would be the lower back getting worse or
Right.
more upset. We can go a little bit lower than we are. I wanted to start a little higher, but yeah, you can go a little bit lower. If your bottom's off the ground, you're too low.
Okay.
The design of this deniral is such that this prevents hypermobility at the bottom. Does that make sense? This supports, so if L5 was here and L4 was here, this is up at L2 and L3, making this bend. Well, this is, otherwise it would just be like a cliff. Otherwise you could remove this whole section. This section here is to prevent hypermobility at the bottom. The idea would be to have a monthly, like a 1 month prescription of being on your back with your head to the right or being on your right side. I just want you to avoid the left because you're essentially in left tilt rotation all the time. And to undo that, we need to bend you the opposite way, hold you there, and then the handlebars to the tire are going to be straight, kind of idea. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. The head stays on a plane. You can make sense? It's just a straight translation. Hold for about 2 seconds, and then disengage. Hold, and then disengage. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
And it's not a, you just hold like you're trying to put your ear flat to the, let me give that a shot. Yeah, good, very good, yeah. And then you just disengage. All you do is bring that left foot to your, there you go, good, perfect, yep, perfect, you got it. Hold, and then disengage. Like you're just like contracting the muscle, and then you just uncontract it, and wherever the head goes, it goes, but you're just, very good. There you go, and then disengage. Yes. I would do a set of 10 of those, and like I said, and that's what's going to, along with the neck curve, it's about, we got to get, you see how I'm exaggerating,
Mhm.
but this is your position, so I want to do, it makes sense?
Right.
I want to go that way with your head,
Go that way.
because it's all blown out to the right,
Mhm.
so we have to push it out to the left. There you go, yep. Perfect. Really good at that. Usually most patients are terrible at that. Most patients are like, people have they're always tilting their head, like, no, I didn't say tilt. I said,
Just-
translate. They always go like this. Everybody goes, no, that's not what I did at all.
You guys should do it
You're like,
together.
Egyptian. Yeah, wow. Looks a lot better. Wow.
Like that is a lot different.
It's just stretching. Nobody's guided you, and you'll be disheartened because it won't last if we don't master these things. That's what's going to make it last. And very good. So, all right, pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome.